Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's weekly live attorney chat here at Immigration for Couples. I'm attorney Megan Pastrana, and I see we already have a whole bunch of people who are joining us here live today. I know for our last show, I had a flurry of questions, and I did my best to get through all of them, but we had a few additional questions that I didn't get to. So hopefully those of you who weren't able to get your questions answered last week, that you're here with us live again. If you're joining us live, please throw in the chat, where in the world are you at right now? Where are you living? Where are you from? Where are you at right now? That we've done that for the past two shows, and it's been awesome to see everyone who's joining us literally from everywhere in the world. Good morning, Lisa. You had told us that you are at a beach today. Did that happen? Are you at the beach? All right. You're at the beach again today in Florida. That sounds like a good place to be. Hello, thank you for joining us. We have Mississippi. Here we go. This is one of my favorite parts to see where everybody's at. Hello, Mississippi. We have India, Colombia. We have Georgia and New Zealand. That's fun. That's awesome. Hey there, you're in Delaware. I know you were with us last time, so thanks for coming back. Oh, Michoacan, Mexico, welcome. Wisconsin, awesome. I can see we have a bunch of people live here. So as you're joining, say hello, good morning, let us know where you're at. We love seeing that. If you're new, if this is your first time on one of our Facebook Lives, I'd like to tell you a little bit about our firm, Immigration for Couples. Just as it sounds, we're dedicated exclusively to helping couples across the nation and across the world and navigating the U.S. immigration process. We literally have clients all over the world. It's one of my favorite parts of my job. My very, very favorite, though, is getting to work with couples and helping people to prove their story of love to immigration. Everybody in our team loves love, and we love our work in the world. And so that's a little bit about our firm. And we know here at Immigration for Couples, it is so important to have knowledge and education and information, because let's face it, the immigration process, it's a labyrinth. I like to say it's an alphabet soup too, because there's K1s and CR1s and IR1s, AOS. It's just a lot of letters and numbers, and it can be a very overwhelming labyrinth to navigate. That's why we host these weekly live immigration chats, so immigration attorney chats, to answer common questions that all of you have. And the other important piece with Facebook Lives is I have found in life, having community, having a place where you know you're not alone, you're not the only one that's going through this journey. Having community is such a beautiful and important thing. And so that's what we have created here at Immigration for Couples on all of our social media platforms. And we also have a free resource center at immigrationforcouples.com. It's a very robust resource center. We have a free relationship evidence guide on how to prove your relation to immigration. So please check that out. I do have some team members who are here watching live too and helping me. Shout out to Julie. She's awesome. And so she will help put posts or comments rather of links to our website. And as I mentioned, certain links on our website and things of that nature, she'll help make sure that's in there for all of you. All right. So I do see we have quite a few questions, and that's awesome. Keep them coming. I will go over all of your questions here after I do the topic that I have lined up for today. And the topic that I have lined up is actually from Glenn. And Lisa, I know you have a question too. I didn't see your question in the comments in the show notes, so please throw it in here and I'll get to that today, and everyone else as well. So Glenn, you had a question. You posted this on our show announcement and said, what is the impact on a green card if someone has a prior tourist visa denial? So you had listed that 3 years ago, your fiance applied for a tourist visa and it was denied because she didn't show strong enough ties to her country of origin, or the country where she is living in from. And with tourist visa applications, that is one of the requirements. You have to show that you have ties to your home country, that you are not coming to the United States to live, because that's not what the tourist visa is for. It is for a tourist purpose, for you to come and visit. So what is the impact then? I get this question a lot, that, you know, someone has tried a tourist visa application in the past and it was denied. What is going to be the impact when you go to file a fiance visa? or a spouse visa when you're trying to get your green card. So a tourist visa denial is something that you'll have to disclose. There are questions on the application for your green card, both fiance and spouse visas, adjustment of status. Have you ever applied and been denied for a tourist visa? Of course, you need to be honest. So typically, a tourist visa denial in your immigration history is not going to cause your fiance or spouse visa to be denied just because of the tourist visa denial. However, tourist visa denials can be very complex because that application that you're filing for your tourist visa has a lot of screening questions. And sadly, I see that there are a lot of agencies out there that they are not licensed immigration attorneys, and they promise that they will help you to get your tourist visa approved. And tourist visas are difficult to get approved because it's a discretionary benefit. It's something that if immigration thinks for any reason that you're not going to leave the US, that they won't give you the visa. And there are a lot of agencies out there that promise to help you get an approval. No one can promise you that. And I've seen a lot of those agencies put incorrect information or withhold information. There's a question about why you want to go to the US. And if you're wanting to go to the US to visit a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a fiance, you need to be honest about that on that application. Yes, that means your application is more likely to be denied because they know that you have this intention to maybe go and stay because you're in love, and you might say, hey, I don't want to leave. But there are agencies who will leave important details off your application, or they might add details that aren't honest. And it's very, very important if you do apply for a tourist visa, it should be you who reviews that application and that you're confident and you're sure that everything on that application is accurate. In those types of situations, if there was information that wasn't accurate or information that was withheld or added, then a prior tourist visa denial would have significant impacts on your green card application, because immigration would say, hey, you have issues with fraud and misrepresentation, with lying to immigration. So it's kind of a two-part answer. The first part is, in general, a tourist visa denial it should not negatively impact your immigration case for a green card, so long as, and that's the second part, you were honest. If you weren't honest on the application, or if there are other immigration issues in your history, then that denial could cause you problems. All right. So thanks for the question, Glenn. A lot of people ask that, and I hope that gives you clarity. All right. Now let me go ahead, and I'm going to pop over here now to all the comments that we have. And let's see. Hi, Sylvia. Thanks for being with us. Okay. Have a lot of people UK. Thanks for being with us, Ginger. And okay. Oof. Yep. It's past 11 in the evening here in the Philippines. Yeah. With everybody watching from all over, I need to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, right? All right. Hello from Pakistan. Okay. Okay. So you're a medical student in India, and you're wanting to go to the US, but you can't leave your parents back in India. Can you please tell if parents can get lawful permanent resident status in the US? So in order to apply for and receive a green card, you have to have a basis, typically a petitioner, be it an employer or a spouse or a family member. So if you have any siblings in the US that have US citizen status, that might be something to look at. They could petition your parents to go to the US. That would be a way that they would be able to receive their green card. But there has to be a basis, someone to petition for them to actually have lawful permanent resident status. All right. Good morning, Eds. Thank you for being with us. Okay. Ahmed, okay, hi. Thank you. Oh, you're very welcome. I'm glad that is helpful. I have a question. How long should I answer? How did you meet your fiance? Okay, so let me see. You have a question. How long should I answer? How did you meet your fiance? And how can I offer to give the officer proof of evidence, pictures of us? So if you're talking about the very first step in the Fiance visa, K-1 visa process, that petition, there is a question about when is the last time or when have you met your fiance in the past 2 years, because meeting in person, having that physical in-person meeting 2 years prior to filing is a requirement. And so you would want to give details on the dates of when you recently met to show that you meet that requirement. And yes, evidence of both your in-person meeting and that your relationship is real are requirements of that application. And with the fiance visa process, we have to prove your relationship at 3 different steps in the process. You have to keep proving immigration, right? At every step, at the petition phase, at the consular interview phase, and again for the green card application. And then if you're scheduled for a second interview, then that would be a 4th time you'd have to prove your relationship. So I hope that is helpful for you. And I really encourage you to check out our relationship evidence guide on our website at immigrationforcouples.com. Okay, let's see here. Good morning, Anna. It's good to see you. Okay. Okay, Hope, thanks for being here. Hello, Canada here. Awesome, awesome. Have a lot of friends in Canada. If American born in America moves to Canada when they're 8 and gets married, has kids, would the children qualify for U.S. citizenship? Yes, typically there are ways for children who are born to U.S. citizens abroad to receive citizenship. It becomes a little bit more complex though, and I'd like to back up even a bit more. Because every country in the world, of course, has their own immigration system and laws and different ways that they recognize citizenship for each country. In the US, we recognize citizenship jus solis and jus sanguinis, so by blood, by soil and by blood. And that means that anyone who is born on US soil is a US citizen, and then anyone who is born to a US citizen parent by blood, that they can derive citizenship from their parents. So for children who are born abroad, for that process, if they're born abroad, is called the consular report of birth abroad. Now, there are additional eligibility requirements that you have to prove for your children to be able to derive your U.S. citizenship. And so it's really going to be fact specific, such as immigration law, as to whether or not you have had any time in the U.S. as well, because there are requirements that the U.S. citizen parent have certain periods of time that they have been living in the U.S. And we prove that through school records or employment records. And so, and it also will depend too if if you're the father of the children, right, is a U.S. citizen as well, or not. And so we have to look at different layers, different eligibility requirements. But there is a process if you're a U.S. citizen for your children to derive your U.S. citizenship. But you have to meet certain, like I said, physical presence requirements and other requirements for that to happen. If your children, for some reason, would not be eligible to receive your U.S. citizenship, there's still a way for us to go through a process for them to receive what's called a lawful permanent resident status. So we would be happy to help you with your case. I've helped we've helped many individuals with consular reports of birth abroad, proving U.S. citizenship, and really doing that analysis to determine, hey, if the children did not derive citizenship, what are our next best options? So there's a lot of different options, and we'd be happy to help you with that and looking at your specific case. You're welcome to schedule a consultation. It's at immigrationforcouples.com, and we have a consultation link, and we can go through your specific situation and get more details. All right. Okay, great question. Okay, so you're from Pakistan, you're living in the United Kingdom on a student visa. You're going to marry your fiance, who's a US citizen, and started next year. Congratulations. And can I do my process in the UK? And what other things do you recommend? So for individuals who are, like you said, you're from Pakistan. So from individuals who have citizenship that from another country, they were born in a different country or have citizenship in a different country, and you find yourself living in a second country like the United Kingdom for work or a student visa, Yes, there is a way that you can ask to have your case, what they call consular processing. You can ask for that interview and all of that process to happen in the country where you currently are living. You have to make a request for that to be able to happen. The very first part of the process, though, happens in the US, and so it doesn't matter where you're living. When you get to that second step, though, with the interview, then that's when, you could ask, if you're still in the United Kingdom and finishing up your student visa, to have your interview there. So that's definitely possible. And what other things do I recommend? Well, if you're early and your research, so that's always good. I recommend you check out our free resource center at immigrationforcouples.com. And really, we have, like I said, a very robust resource center. We have a whole section of own information you should know about fiance visas. And we also have that relationship evidence guide. And I would say that if you know that you're planning on, getting married next year, if you're wanting to be in the US next year, then you really need to get your case started soon based on current wait times. And we'd be happy to help you with that process as well. So we do have a discovery call and an option for a free discovery call and an option for a consultation with an attorney. And that free discovery call with our team is with Lisa. She's awesome. You can learn more about her on our website as well. She is not an attorney, but she can tell you more about what it looks like to work with us, and she can go over cost and all of that good stuff in that appointment. If you're looking for more specifically tailored legal advice, then I'd be happy to meet with you in a consultation as well. Okay. Let's see. I have a lot of questions here. And we're streaming this on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube all at the same time. And it's nice because I can see who is watching from which platform. So, all right. So it just takes me a minute to sift through all the questions. Okay. So you had your green card interview. You accepted to do a COVID-19 waiver. You already have the RFE for the waiver. Can I forfeit the waiver and submit my full vaccination records? If so, how? So yes, if you decided that you want to get the COVID vaccine, you don't want to go through the waiver process, then that is completely fine. It's really going to depend on the language of your request for evidence and what exactly that they're asking. That would be something that's very specific legal advice on the how and the next steps for you. I would actually need to see that RFE, that request for evidence, and see exactly what's being requested, if there were any other aspects of your case that you're needing to prove, and really see, where you're at with that medical exam and all of that, and what the doctor had put in your records as well. So really, in terms of next steps, it's really going to be dependent on that request for evidence. If you have an attorney already, then definitely speak with them about what is the best strategy. But if you're needing assistance with that, and if you've already gotten the vaccine, and you likely would need to get an updated medical exam, I can't say that for 100% certainty, again, without seeing that request for evidence, but you're welcome to schedule a consultation with me at immigrationforcouples.com. And we have a way that you would be able to, before our appointment together, to send that request for evidence. And then we can walk through how we can help you to go ahead and move forward with letting immigration know that you've already received the vaccine and that you're not going to do the waiver. Okay. Yeah, I'll be happy to help you though with that process. Okay. So, hey, all right, great, Lisa. So you got your question in there. So for the medical appointment, it's something that the immigrant actually schedules. And so USCIS has immigration has civil surgeons that are licensed, or that they're licensed. They're certified by immigration to do the medical exams for immigrants for the immigration process. Depending on the case type, if it's an adjustment of status case, that happens completely in the US. And then there are fiance visas and spouse visas, and the medical exam and interview happen abroad. But in both situations, whether it's in the US or abroad, the immigrant will schedule that medical exam with a certified doctor, a doctor that's been certified by immigration. And so that's how that works. You will, depending on the type of case, will determine when that medical exam would be scheduled. With our green card adjustment of status applications, that's something that we do the entire application all together and send it with that application. And then for fiance and spouse visas, we have to wait for the embassy to let us know that our clients can take the next steps once that interview has been scheduled to schedule the medical exam. All right. Great question. Hey, Phil, thanks so much. It's nice having you here again as well. I'm glad that this time has worked out for so many people. Okay. Oh, Anna, thank you. That was on our topic that I did at the start of the show, if you missed it, about prior tourist visa denials. And yeah, I remember you had shared this detail before that you had been denied for a tourist visa twice before, but now you're happily married in the US and you did the fiance visa process. And I appreciate you telling everyone to keep their hopes up. And it's great to have you here as an example, like I said, in being in community and seeing that you're not alone and there is a finish line and you will get to it. So thank you for sharing that, Anna. That's very nice of you. Okay. So let me see. I have a lot of questions here. You're very welcome. Okay. So your mom petitioned her brother 10 years ago and is still waiting. How long is the usual wait? Should they inquire about help from by a congressional inquiry? So that's very, very, very common. When you're petitioning for your siblings as a US citizen, there are very, very long wait times. So there's different categories of immigrants. There are immediate relatives and non-immediate relatives. Immediate relatives are spouses of US citizens, minor children of US citizens, and parents. So those are immediate relatives. They do not have to wait in a line. Yes, there is a waiting line to have your application reviewed, but those individuals don't have to wait for a visa to become available. Non-immediate relatives, which would be everyone else, spouses of lawful permanent residents, adult children, brothers and sisters, and brothers and sisters, which is here with your question. So non-immediate relatives have to wait in a line for a visa to become available. It's a very complex mathematical equation that the government does to determine, hey, this is how many visas we have. This is how we're going to spread them out among the non-immediate relative category. And then individuals have to wait for their visa category to become current. So with a sibling petition, waiting is a huge part of the game. It depends on country of origin as well. Certain countries have different wait times because of the amount of individuals who are applying to receive an immigration benefit from those countries, specifically Mexico, the Philippines, India, and China. So 10 years, typically it takes much more than 10 years. It really depends on that country of origin. You can check out the National Visa Center Bulletin that's published every single month. And you can take a look at the priority date and then look at that chart. It explains how to look at the chart and see based on the category where in that wait time that priority date falls. There's not a way to know if there's 4 more years wait or 5 or 1, but it can give you a general estimate. But those change every month. Seeking assistance from a congressional representative will not help because really the person has to wait for their priority date. So I know that's the hardest part, right? With immigration cases is the wait. So good question though. Okay. Oh, this is a good question too. And I think I'm sorry, I skipped yours, and I'm coming back to it. Does the joint sponsor need to be living in the same household as the petitioner? No. And typically that wouldn't even be allowed. Joint sponsorship and affidavit of support, it's a complex beast. Such as all of immigration, right? So no, they do not. The I-864 form has form instructions that are very, very long. And if you are doing your own case, you really will want to read through those all the way in detail to understand joint sponsorship. But I can tell you that they don't need to be living in the same household if you have a joint sponsor. Your joint sponsor, though, needs to make enough income on their own. You can't combine it with the petitioner to be able to be the joint sponsor. All right. Okay. Oh, this is fun news. I mean, your son's fiance received notification today that her petition is being sent to the embassy in Bogota. And how do we pay the visa fees? Yay! Congratulations. That's super exciting. So that's the notification from the National Visa Center letting you know that that case is being sent to the embassy. That's great news. It really depends on the case and the country and so many factors as to when you're going to receive that notification from the embassy. So that's the next step, is that you're going to receive an email notification from Bogota, from the US consulate there, letting you know, hey, this is where you pay the fees, and now you can schedule to the medical exam, and it will go through the instructions. Because even though it's all US immigration, each US consulate in each different country kind of has their own policies and procedures. Some have you mail documents, some have you scan them in, some have you just bring them, and they will give you their specific instructions in the email they send you. So you'll have to wait for that email from Bogota with those instructions. And so those should be coming shortly. Hopefully you get those soon, but congratulations. That's exciting news. One step closer. Hey, Olive, thank you so much for joining us. It's so great to see you here. Okay. Okay. So Diana, you recently been through a K-1 visa process from, it's a US Mexican couple waiting for the interview in Ciudad Juarez. I know there is no way to know for sure, but should we expect this to take about a year? So it depends on where exactly you are in the process. For our clients who are consular processing, who are going through the US consulate in Ciudad Juarez in Mexico, we are seeing that most of our clients are getting an interview within a year. And so by that, I mean, the very first step in the process takes about 8 months. Then it's transferred to the National Visa Center. That's another month or two. And then it's transferred to the embassy or consulate. So from that, filing the petition to interview, we're seeing it takes about a year. If your case has already been approved, if the petition's already been approved, it should be a matter of months, 4 to 6 months, give or take. Wait times always ebb and flow. But that's kind of what we're seeing for our clients from Mexico. All right. Best of luck. Keep us posted on how it goes. Okay. So Anna, you have a question. Are you eligible to apply for US citizenship after 5 years of being a permanent resident or 3 years being married to a US citizen, right? I'll be married for 3 years, August 2024, but my green card expires this December. So should I apply for removal of conditions in September? Can I just apply for citizenship instead, or do I need an unexpired green card to do that? I really recommend you check out our free resource center at immigrationforcouples.com. I have step-by-step videos that go through, this is the removal of conditions process, and then this is the citizenship process. And that will give you a ton of context and clarity, but I, of course, will answer your question here as well. When you receive your green card, if you receive a conditional 2-year green card, you're required to file removal of conditions in the 90-day window before your green card expires. It's imperative that you file that removal of conditions in that 90-day window. If you were to file it late, you can lose your green card. I know you're super meticulous and you're always on it. You've come to almost every single Facebook Live, and I know you like your research, so I doubt you would ever miss that deadline, but be sure that you calendar that. And then you are eligible for US citizenship once you have held your green card and been for 3 years and been married to a US citizen for 3 years. And so typically what we do for our clients, we file removal of condition for our clients. And then that very next year, we would be able to file for citizenship. Okay. So that's the process. And if you need help, if you're needing help with the removal of conditions process or US citizenship, we'd be happy to help you on that process if you're looking for an attorney. If not, check out our resource center. That should be very helpful for you. Okay. And wow, I have so many. Okay, let me see how many more I can get done. Let's see. This is a long one. There's questions that get so long and then I start to like disappear, right? So Adam King, thanks for joining us. Do you have, I really am. Do you have advice for beneficiaries who are looking to navigate the complexities of bringing financial assets to the US? Are there certain kinds of tax or financial professionals you recommend? It seems like this could be an issue a couple will face shortly after the beneficiary arrives. Yes, taxes and immigration, they go together. They just do. They are very intertwined in a lot of different areas of law. They intertwine. Um, I know this isn't, yeah, but I figured you would know what issues to look for in advice. Yeah, absolutely. I'm constantly referring clients to an accountant, as a licensed CPA, a financial advisor. It's good to have both in your corner if you're talking about having significant assets. You can check out. I've done a podcast with Kim Eric. She's an accountant, and if she can't help you, she'll be able to guide you to other licensed professionals that can help you, because the reality is tax law, they say, and I remember hearing this over and over in law school, that tax law and immigration law are the most complex areas of law. And so I stay in my zone of expertise and joy and genius. And I have colleagues who work in their own areas of expertise. So yeah, you're definitely right in thinking you need to look for an accountant. So you could check out my podcast episode with her that was more about taxes and things that you should be aware of with taxes, but that would be very helpful for you to check out. And then it does have her scheduling link. You're not, you don't have to go to her, but I would recommend looking for, like I said, an accountant and looking at your specific country, because I know Kim said in the podcast episode that I recorded with her, it has a lot to do with the country where those assets are being moved or where they're being held. So, looking for someone that has specific experience with that country. But I would say start there with that podcast episode with Kim. And then, yeah, accountants and someone who licensed financial planner or licensed advisor that has the licenses that are required to help with these particular assets. All right. Great question, though. There's a lot of moving parts with immigration in terms of your next chapter. A lot of times couples are bringing pets and there's tax consequences for, your assets. There's just so many different health insurance. There's just so many different pieces. So that's a really great question. Okay. Okay, so you have not received a decision after 90 days after your N400 interview. What should I do? Legally, they're required to make a decision 120 days after your interview. You can always make an inquiry with USCIS. That's not, I know those aren't always helpful, but it's nice to kind of to nudge them a bit. You can always reach out to a congressional representative to see if they will help liaise. They can't force immigration to make a decision on your case, and they can't force them to make a favorable decision, but they can help to be a liaison to communicate with that USCIS office. So you would just look for your local congressional representative. They usually have a form you fill out, explain that you've been waiting for 90 days, and see if they can help get some information about why that might be. All right. But good luck. I hope you get news soon. One of our team members, Catherine, she's awesome, one of our paralegals, she always says the day you think you can't wait anymore is usually the next day or after when you seem to get the decision. So hopefully that holds true for you. But good luck. Okay, so all of you said that your fiance and you received a NOID letter, and how long will it take to get a response from the police department back to the US? So yes, so you're asking about if there's a NOID request for records from another agency, like LAPD, for example. So there are some agencies, police and courts, that will only release records to USCIS if USCIS request them and they send them directly to USCIS. They won't send it to the individual requesting for security reasons. So it really depends on that particular agency and that particular department, police department or court, wherever the records are being requested. Typically, if USCIS is asking, they tend to prioritize those. So if their wait time shows, sometimes it'll show like 3 to 6 month wait. Sometimes they will expedite that because a government agency like USCIS is requesting the record specifically. So it's hard to say exactly when, but hopefully they will take into consideration that USCIS is making that request and will respond sooner. All right. Thank you for your question. So what is a good message to send to USCIS via their platform to get specific information about where they are in our process? Unfortunately, if you're calling USCIS or reaching out to USCIS, their responses are always going to be cookie cutter responses. They have template responses. And if your case is under review, it's just going to say, we're actively reviewing, or your case is under review at this point. They won't give more specific details than that, unfortunately. We find using a combination of the processing times and just checking your own USCIS case status is helpful to kind of see what the processing times are and see where you land or where you are in that queue. So there really isn't like a magic way to get more information. They really hold a lot of that information back and do give pretty cookie cutter responses. So, but if your case is well outside of normal processing, or you have any concerns with your case, if you have an attorney, definitely speak with them, and they should be able to tell you an estimate on wait time based on your specific case. That's what we do for our clients. We let them know what we're seeing in terms of the specific case, that service center, et cetera, on how long the wait will be, and what we anticipate seeing. All right. Good luck with your case. Okay, so Phil, you said, so hard not to get hopes up when the US, oh, their countdown clock is, they're trying, and really from the person that asked us, it said creative family, your question about how to get more specific information. USCIS is trying with their online tools to be more transparent, to give more information, because they know that the unknown causes a lot of people to just feel a lot of anxiety and call and want more information. The unknown can be uncomfortable. But you're right. It's so hard to not get your hopes up when the USCIS countdown goes from 4 months to 3 months to 2 to 1, 3 weeks, and then all the way down to a week. So would love to be with one of your unicorn cases. Oh, I would. Yeah, I would love that for you too. I would love for that for you too. But you never know what you focus on, manifest, and what you focus on grows, and maybe you can manifest that. I'm an optimistic person, and I also balance that with, being a pragmatist, being a realist, and I'm hopeful. I'm very, very hopeful that will hold true for you. All right. Thanks for being with us today. Okay. So you're wanting to know, can your brother sponsor your husband who's Canadian? So there isn't a step. I'm sorry, a brother-in-law. It escaped me. There isn't an option to petition like brother-in-law or sister-in-law. But with your husband being Canadian and you being a U.S. citizen, based on your other questions, if your family is looking to come to the U.S., your husband and your children, we can definitely get on a call if you're looking for an immigration attorney, and I can definitely talk with you about how to bring your husband and children and do that all together at once. If just your husband is looking to go by, on his own, probably looking at options like the TN visa, since he is Canadian, might be something to look into. There's a lot of different unique options based on country of origin, especially with Canada and the US. So if he's just wanting to come on his own, that might be something to look at as well. We don't handle that type of visa here at Immigration for Couples, but we definitely help if you're wanting to bring your spouse and children. That's our zone of joy and genius. So we'd be happy to help. All right. Okay. Okay. So Scott, you said you've gone past and your picture is adorable. You've gone past the 2-year meeting time period. We've been together for over 2 years. What can I do? So it sounds like you're probably wanting to do the fiance visa and that 2-year in-person meeting requirement, that it's been more than 2 years. You'll need to meet physically in person again to be eligible to file for the fiance visa. I've seen many couples, and that breaks my heart, that they're hoping that there's some wiggle room there, or there's some like a grace period that immigration, if you're only a few days or a few weeks, that they'll still accept it, but they won't. So you really have to meet physically in person again. And hopefully you'll be able to do that. I'm sure if you haven't been able to see each other that long, you're longing and missing one another. So once you meet in person, and as long as you meet all the other requirements, then you'd be safe to file. Okay. And please check out our free resource center as well. There's a lot more information on fiance visas. All right. um, Oh, yes. This is common. So you're from Raleigh, North Carolina. Thanks for being with us. Great to have you here. You received a packet from the embassy in Bangkok for the fiance visa, but it keeps saying there's no interviews available. You've been trying for weeks. Any advice? Ugh, I know. That's something that we deal with quite often. It depends on the embassy. So with scheduling and with calendaring, how the embassies handle their schedules and calendaring is that we find typically when you're getting closer to the end of a month, more slots open up. Checking every day, multiple times a day is really important. So it sounds like you're doing that. You can also email. You can try reaching out or contacting the embassy, depending on the embassy. I believe Bangkok has an inquiry portal. They also have an email. You can let them know, hey, we have all of our everything ready and we're trying to schedule an interview, but no slots have opened up. Can you put us on a cancellation list? Can you let me know when spots will open up? It's good to reach out to them next. But really checking multiple times a day, every day is really the best way. And knowing that when you get closer to the end of the month, the embassy will release more dates because at that point they know they usually schedule 30 days out. They'll know what's open and then they'll put those appointments up for you. But yep, that's usually the trick. And I hopefully you get something here soon. So best of luck to you. Oh, yay, you're watching from Chile. It's great to have you here, Paula. All right. Good morning, Maryland. Okay. Oh, you do want to move back to the States. Great. You're very welcome. We'd love to help you. Just let us know whenever you're ready. You can get on our link on our website. Yeah, we'll definitely be able to help your family. That would be wonderful. Thanks for being with us, Hope. Okay. So, Annabelle, you are a U.S. citizen. Your boyfriend is from Mexico. He has a visitor's visa, but he wants to be a permanent resident. Should we get legally married in Mexico and do the spouse visa or do the fiance visa? So, it really depends on your personal situation and goals. Some of the reasons that individuals will choose the fiance visa over the spouse visa, especially for our clients from Mexico, is that it tends to be a faster option for couples to be together. Some of the reasons, though, that individuals would choose to not do the fiance visa is that when he enters the U.S. on his fiance visa, there's a period of time where he's not able to work. Typically, we're seeing that's a few months right now. That can always kind of ebb and flow, such as immigration. But those are some of the considerations. And if you're both looking at, those two options and not sure which to pick, we can help you during a consultation to talk about your specific situation and go through that in more detail as to, and I can advise you on, based on your situation, based on your goals, based on everything that's in your life, which option is going to be the best. But I can tell you, like I said, reasons that our clients from Mexico would choose that fiance visa is typically it's faster, but you need to put that in balance with, is that going to be okay when he comes to not be able to work or leave the US for several months? Okay. And you can definitely check out our free resource center as well. But great question. Okay. Let's see. I could do a few more questions here. You're welcome, Lisa. So, okay. So you were just clarifying. Can I offer the visa officer with pictures if he didn't ask for it? You're very welcome. So when you go to your interview for a fiance or spouse visa, it's very, very important to take relationship evidence with you, more than just photos. It's the officer who will be leading the interview. So let the officer lead you. They will ask for your passport and they will ask you questions from your application. And then they will let you know, hey, I would like to see some updated relationship evidence. Let that officer guide you. And when they request documents, when they ask you questions, at that time you can respond or give them evidence. Okay. So good luck with your interview. Can you apply for a DS-160 for multiple countries? And if you're referring to the fiance visa, the answer is no. If you're doing the DS-160, if you're doing the fiance visa, you're going to be your case is going to be assigned to a specific consular post. And that is where you would need to complete the DS-160, wherever your consular post is located. If you do it for another country and you'd go to your interview, then they could deny you. They'd likely deny you and tell you, hey, you need to complete it for this consular post. Okay, so be sure you pay attention to where your interview is and complete it for that specific consular post. All right. Okay, so you said your wife and you're a US citizen, and you applied for the spouse visa 11 months ago. Since we applied, we have a vacation, met a couple times. Should we add photos, flight tickets, etc., as unsolicited evidence? My advice is no. You wait for immigration. It's the ball in their court. I know you just want to be like, hey, look, we're in love. Can you just look at this and approve this? I totally get that, having gone through the process personally. But do not send it as unsolicited evidence. Hang on to it, because when that spouse visa interview comes, that's going to be great evidence that your wife can take to that interview. And then if asked, you can say, look, at all of this new evidence we have, we're so in love. So you can go ahead and approve us, right? So that's the best way. Just hang on to it, because you will have to approve your relationship again at future steps, like the interview. Great question. Okay. So, Gloria, if a sponsorship application is ongoing, is it possible to ask for a tourist visa on the side for the beneficiary? So if you have filed for a fiance visa or a spouse visa, I highly recommend you do not apply for a tourist visa. And that's what I always tell my clients. It's extremely risky to do that, especially if you're doing your case on your own. That's a very common pitfall, a place where it can cause you a lot of issues. Why? Because the fiance visa, the spouse visa, the point of those is that you are telling immigration, I have someone in the US that I love dearly, that I want to spend my life with. The purpose of that application is to get that approved. And for you to come, the purpose of it is for you to come and live in the US long term. Tourist visa, you have to be telling immigration, I have no intentions of going to the US and live. I just want to go for a visit. So you can see how those two things are contradictory. And immigration is likely going to deny, unfortunately, they will deny that tourist application, because they'll say, hey, you have a spouse and a fiance visa, wait for that. And then with the tourist visa, the place that becomes tricky is there's a lot of questions on there for which you, of course, always need to be honest with immigration. And if you would not disclose those other applications that are pending, or if maybe you do it unwittingly, you don't on purpose, there are a lot of places where you might withhold information or give information that's incorrect that can cause your fiance or spouse visa case issues. So the short answer is no, you really need to wait for those other two, or the other type of application, to go through. But all right, good question. Okay. I'll try to get a couple more here, and then I do need to jet. I have a busy day. I'm a busy bee, but I'll try to do as many more as I can. Okay. After the interview, you received a 221G with the pink form. What does that mean? So 221G, so a consular officer can either approve or refuse your case. Those are the only two options they're given. They used to have what they would call administrative processing. They still have that, but essentially that's the 221G. So the 221G means they couldn't approve your case. So the next question becomes, why didn't they approve my case? Are they asking you for more documents? Is that why? Oftentimes that's a primary reason for that refusal notice, is that there are additional documents that you didn't take that you should have. The other reason that you might get that is you weren't eligible for the visa. I have no idea what kind of visa for which you were applying, so I can't give any more information than there might be a reason that you're not eligible. If it's a tourist visa, you might have not shown enough ties. If it's a fiance visa or a spouse visa, maybe you have something in your immigration history that makes you ineligible. So it's really going to come down to, and that officer should have given you information if they needed documents, or they would have given you another form that said you're not eligible because of this section and this section and this section of immigration law. And sometimes there's a waiver and sometimes there's not. Okay, so that's the short or long answer of what that is. I think I'm running out of voice. I've been yickety yakking here for an hour. Let me grab one more here. Okay, so you're waiting on your I-130. and you want to change the country where your interview will happen from Bangladesh to Canada, should I and how? So once the petition is approved, your case will be assigned to the National Visa Center. And at that point, you can ask the National Visa Center and or the consular post where you want to transfer if they will accept your case. They do not have to transfer your case. It's a favor that they say that you're asking them to transfer it, and they typically do need to see proof that you're legally living and residing in the country to where you want to transfer that case. So once the I-130 is approved and you're at that National Visa Center phase, so long as you meet the requirements to be able to transfer, then you would be able to request it through the National Visa Center and through the consulate. Okay. Good luck. Good question. Okay. What's the difference between the I-864 and I-864A if you have a joint sponsor? Which will they need to fill out? So it depends on your joint sponsor if they make enough on their own, or if your joint sponsor and their spouse is combining their income to meet the requirement as a joint sponsor. So depends on the case. Sometimes we have to fill out both. Sometimes we only fill out one, but the I-864 is for the joint sponsor. And then the I-864A would be for that joint sponsor's spouse or family member that's combining income and living in the same home. All right. You're very welcome. I know your question was earlier, but you're very welcome. I'm glad that helped. Okay. And then Anna, you were asking about, they already got my first interview for the 2-year green card waived. If I submit more relationship evidence with my application. Yeah, I mean, the idea of submitting relationship evidence and submitting a really strong application is to show immigration you're in love and that they don't need to interview you. I see immigration officers at least once a week. I represent clients all over the country at immigration interviews. I talk with them all the time, so I can get the inside scoop for my clients. And really, when interviews have been waived for that first green card, it'll really depend. Sometimes they've told me, you know, if it's been waived the first time, they like to call you in for an interview to get to see you in person and ask more questions. And then others say if there's a strong application that's being submitted, that they'll waive that interview again. So it's very case specific, but definitely submitting relationship evidence that's strong, that's the relationship evidence that immigration is looking for, is very helpful. All right. Mike, I just made a video on this because I know we have a lot of clients from the Philippines and wanting to know, for most of our fiance visa clients from the Philippines, we're seeing anywhere from 10 to 14 months, give or take. We've seen them moving much faster. So somewhere in there, where I'm hoping, and we're hoping to see that wait time continue to decrease. But that's kind of what we're seeing, anywhere from 10 to 14 months, give or take. Yeah, having trouble with a joint sponsor, it's a big responsibility. Yeah, for sure. And there are the joint sponsor responsibilities and obligations and more information that you can give your joint sponsor from the USCIS website so they can fully understand that obligation. But it's a big ask. I understand. Good luck. Hopefully you find someone soon. I'm going to take us to the top of the hour. All right, I have 5 more minutes. I'll see how fast I can talk to get more questions in. Okay. Sylvia, that's such a great question. And I know there's a lot of forums and a lot of places out there where this question kind of circulates, that if your K-1 visa is denied, should we just apply for a spouse visa? Applying for a spouse visa is not going to fix whatever problem existed with the fiance visa and why it was denied. We've had many individuals who've come to us that whether they did it on their own or for whatever reason, they have been denied for their fiance visa. And we look at that specific case and we see, okay, where are the flaws? Where were the issues in this filing and in this situation and with this specific case and these facts? What is the issue? Why was this fiance visa denied? And then we'll talk about a strategy moving forward to refile, if it's viable to refile the fiance visa, if the spouse visa makes sense. But typically the reality is that if the fiance visa was denied, there was a problem with that case. There's something underlying in that case that we have to address for the case to be approved. Filing the spouse visa is not going to fix that. You're still going to have that same underlying problem when you move forward with the spouse visa. if this happens to be your situation, please get on an attorney consultation. I'd be happy to meet with you, and you can send over that denial before our appointment. I'll take a look at it and we can talk through what happened and what are our options moving forward. Okay. Thank you for the question though. Awesome, Anna. Great. Check out the relationship evidence guide. It'll be very helpful for you. Okay. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Okay. Do I go to the interview with my clients? Yes, I do. So depending on the type of interview, so US embassies and consulates don't allow anyone else in the interview except for the immigrant. They won't even allow the spouse. Some consulates will, but attorneys aren't able to attend. And then for USCIS cases that have an interview, absolutely. If my clients want me to attend, I've literally attended immigration interviews all over the United States and represented clients at different states. So I do, if that is what they need and want, for sure. Okay, I have, let's see. So do you know if my mom is my K-1 joint sponsor, whether she must include me on her I-134, even if I am employed part-time? So you're going through the fiance visa process, right? You're at that interview phase and you're having to do what I like to call the half-a-davit, the I-134, because it's it's halfway through the process and you'll have to do the I-864 later. So with that I-134, you need one for you as the petitioner and one for your joint sponsor, because even if you don't make enough to be the sole sponsor for your case, immigration requires you to complete affidavit of support and provide whatever financial documents and taxes that you do have. All right. So you would have to have your own. Okay. I have 1 minute or maybe like 30 seconds. Need a fiance visa for my fiance, lives in Colombia. We met in September. I have visited her 3 times since, total 4 weeks together. That's awesome. So yeah, check out our free resource center. And if you are looking to have a law firm be your guide on this process, we'd be honored to speak with you and talk about what that looks like to work together. Yeah, that's a great tip, Anna. If you can't meet in each other's countries, you can meet in a different one. Absolutely, for vacation. That's what you did. Yeah, we have a lot of individuals that decide, hey, we're super far away from one another. Let's find like a middle point and meet, have a beach vacation or whatever, and you can have a nice vacation and be together. I choose? Oh, let's see. Okay. So why should you choose our services over a local attorney? Well, I think with any service provider, it's good to interview a few places to find the place that is most in alignment. Why our services are different is we're the only firm in the country that focuses exclusively on this specific niche of couple-based immigration. We're experts in our field. We're very heart-centered in our work. I went through the immigration process with my husband. That was one of the puzzle pieces in my life that led me to this work in the world. And many members of our team have also been through a process. So we're very heart-centered. To us, you're not another number or a case that's being shuffled through our system. We really support and guide you fully throughout the entire process. And we're extremely proactive. So before we get an approval on the first step or the second step of your case, we're already working ahead. We're working with you always to make sure you always know where we're at and where we're going. So you always have clarity. So those are some of the main reasons. And I invite you to check out our website and all of our videos and content so you can learn more about our firm. And we do have a free discovery call if you're wanting to learn more about our services, what it looks like to work with us. And I also do have a video too about what are some of the questions that you should ask when you are interviewing firms to make sure you are finding the right fit for you. All right. So definitely those are some of my big tips. But thanks for the question. Okay, I have to wrap it up. I got to call it. I could talk about immigration all day. You have a lot of, we have a lot of really great questions in here. And if you are able to join us next week, I will be here next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And here I have someone from our team. We do the live stream every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Unless I have an interview or something like that, then we will let you know if it's been moved. But I will be here next week. And if you have questions that we didn't get to today, jump on at 11 a.m., throw them in the comments, and I will get to those first. All right. It was great to be with everybody today. Have a fabulous week, and I will see you all next week. Take care. Bye.